There is a quiet truth that lives inside every human heart, the truth that passion is not merely emotion, not just excitement, not just the fire that flickers when we do something we love. It is the raw current of life itself. How passion turns into power explores this sacred energy, how it begins as a whisper, grows into a flame, and if nurtured with faith, discipline, and purpose, transforms into a force capable of reshaping one's destiny. The book begins by reminding us that passion is the most honest language of the soul. It speaks through our longings, our curiosities, and the things that make us lose track of time. Every person is born with this inner spark, yet most suppress it under the weight of fear, doubt, and conformity. The author paints a vivid picture of how society teaches us to trade wonder for safety, how many choose stability over growth, predictability over freedom. But the truth, the author insists, is that greatness cannot coexist with comfort. Passion, when buried, becomes restlessness. But when honored, it becomes power, the kind of power that doesn't dominate others but elevates life itself. Through the story of several individuals, artists, entrepreneurs, and ordinary people who dared to follow what set their hearts ablaze, the book unveils a deep spiritual law, that the universe bends toward those who live with conviction. There's the story of a young teacher who left her secure job to open a school for underprivileged children. At first, she had no resources, no investors, no clear roadmap, only the clarity of her calling. But as she followed that inner pull, opportunities unfolded like petals opening to sunlight. The message was clear: when you move in alignment with your passion, life moves with you. The book doesn't romanticize passion as an effortless or purely emotional experience. It reveals that true passion is both beautiful and demanding. It will test your patience, stretch your faith, and ask you to grow beyond what you believe possible. Many people mistake passion for constant excitement, but the author shows us that it is a lifelong commitment, a relationship that demands loyalty even on days when inspiration fades. Passion without persistence is a spark that burns out quickly. Passion with discipline becomes a sun that never sets. One of the most profound chapters delves into the difference between ego-driven ambition and soul-led passion. Ambition seeks validation, passion seeks expression. Ambition says, "I want to be the best." Passion whispers, "I want to give my best." When we operate from ego, we exhaust ourselves chasing recognition. But when we act from passion, our work itself becomes the reward. The book beautifully reminds us that power is not dominance, it is alignment. It is the moment when what you love, what you believe in, and what you do all move in harmony. The author explores how passion transforms into power through 3 stages. The first is awakening, when you rediscover what makes your spirit come alive. Often, this awakening happens after pain, loss, or a deep sense of emptiness. When life strips away what is false, we begin to hear the quiet voice of what is true. The second stage is devotion, the process of pouring yourself fully into your craft or purpose, regardless of results. This is where power begins to take shape. The third is service, when your passion no longer serves only you, but becomes a light for others. Power reaches its highest form when it uplifts the world around you. In one particularly moving story, the author writes about a man who spent years building a business solely to make money. He was successful by every worldly measure, but felt hollow. One day, while volunteering at a local community center, he discovered joy in teaching young entrepreneurs how to navigate failure. What started as an act of kindness became his new life's mission. He realized that power without purpose is noise, but when passion is married to service, it becomes symphony. Throughout the book, the author returns to a recurring truth: passion is not found, it is cultivated. It grows through action, not contemplation. Many people wait for a perfect idea, the right time, or divine inspiration to begin. But passion, like a flame, needs oxygen. You must act first, even when uncertain. Action clarifies desire. The universe doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to movement. Even a small step toward your dream creates a ripple that awakens unseen opportunities. The narrative also touches on the emotional dimension of this journey, the loneliness, self-doubt, and resistance that often accompany a passionate life. When you follow your truth, not everyone will understand. Friends may drift away, comfort will disappear. But as the book gently teaches, this solitude is not punishment, it is preparation. Passion needs silence to deepen its roots. Power grows in the soil of solitude, where you learn to trust your own voice. As the story unfolds, the reader begins to see passion not as a fleeting emotion, but as a sacred contract, a promise between your soul and your destiny. Every obstacle you face along the path is not meant to block you, but to build you. Challenges refine your purpose. Rejection strengthens your clarity. Failure deepens your compassion. In this sense, power is not achieved by force, it is received through surrender. You do not conquer the world by dominating it, you transform it by offering your authentic self to it. The author shares powerful metaphors throughout, comparing passion to a river that carves its way through rock. It doesn't rush, yet nothing can stop it. It flows with quiet certainty, shaping landscapes over time. Likewise, when we follow our inner current, we may not see immediate results, but we are reshaping our destiny with every step. One of the closing insights of the book speaks to the ultimate transformation, when passion turns into peace. At first, we chase our passions in search of happiness, but eventually we discover that passion itself is a path to inner stillness. When you live in alignment with your purpose, you no longer need external approval. The fire within becomes steady, not loud, but luminous. This is the highest form of power, calm, focused, unwavering. The book ends with a reflection on legacy, the idea that real power is not measured by what you accumulate, but by what you awaken in others. When you live passionately, you give others permission to do the same. Your life becomes an invitation, a living message that says, it is safe to be alive. It is safe to be true. The world doesn't need more successful people, it needs more passionate souls, those who love deeply, work honestly, and serve selflessly. Every page of How Passion Turns into Power reminds the reader that the journey is inward before it is outward. You must light your own fire before you can illuminate the world. Passion gives meaning to your struggles, direction to your energy, and depth to your joy. When you trust it, it will lead you exactly where you are meant to be. Not because the path will be easy, but because it will be real. So, if you ever feel lost or uncertain, remember, the question is not, what should I do? The real question is, what makes me come alive? For what sets your soul on fire is not random, it is your guidepost, your compass, your divine assignment. Follow it faithfully, and you will discover that power was never something to be taken, it was always something to be awakened.